We are back with another FPL video. This will be the team selection for Blank Gameweek 32, where I've activated my free hit already, and there are a few changes to what I showed you in the best free hit team video and the alternatives there, and you might be interested in comparing this team with the two that you saw in that video, because there are so many different choices this week, and with no Brighton, Chelsea, Manchester City or Manchester United, it does open things up a little bit, and it allows us to potentially go against the grain, be a bit different, and hopefully it does work in our favour. If you have not enjoyed this video, be sure to drop this video a like as we're trying to get this to over 300, and also smash the subscribe button as we're getting ever closer towards 19,000 and subsequently 20,000 subscribers overall. And thank you for all your support during my holidays, getting all these videos and streams out there, and all of you that always watch every single one of these videos. It's massively appreciated, and it's always a pleasure with this back and forth we have in the comment section, in the live chat as well of the deadline streams. Let's get straight into this video, starting with my Gameweek 31 performance and how that could impact my plans for Gameweek 32. There's a reason why I mentioned the likes of David Raya and Kepa Arrizabalaga so often in my best wildcard team videos, because they have such a high ceiling. Both of these goalkeepers conceded multiple goals, and yet they were still able to get some very good returns. Kepa got a 6-pointer and he was on my bench, but David Raya also got a 5-pointer, and that is more than enough for me. So many bonus points and saves in the process. You can't ask more from your goalkeeper when they don't get that clean sheet, which is pretty much the bread and butter of most of these goalkeeper assets. But David Raya and Kepa Arrizabalaga can be the exception at times, and I'm very happy to have both in my squad. Things started to go very wrong in the backline. So Ben Mee came off my bench for a 1-pointer because the likes of Nathan Ake and Luke Shaw both missed out and didn't feature at all. So that late move I did of getting Nathan Ake in just didn't work out, because the other defender I was really considering from Man City was John Stones, and he scored a goal, got some bonus points, and that was one of the most frustrating parts of the week. If I had Stones, Ben Mee wouldn't have come in, and I wouldn't have gotten that 1-pointer. Instead, it would have been 7 extra that I would have gotten from John Stones. But then again, I maybe got away with it a little bit because John Stones was subbed up for half-time, so he didn't get the 2nd point for an appearance and also the clean sheet points, and probably after that, some more bonus points overall. So look, that didn't work out. A lot of 50-50s haven't this season, but it could have gone even worse than it actually did. Then you look at the other two defenders, Sven Botman, a 1-pointer, conceding multiple goals to Aston Villa as Newcastle got absolutely thrashed, and I didn't expect that. I thought Aston Villa could win the game, but not by that margin, and Newcastle were completely off it, and you have to give Aston Villa credit for their performance. And the final defender, another one who blanked, another Newcastle defender, Kieran Trippier, who has been very frustrating in recent weeks. Only 2 returns in his last 8 games. We all know what he can do, and that's why he'll remain a popular option on the free hit in Gameweek 32. Last week I benched Solly March as he got an assist and 2 bonus points against Tottenham. This time around I started him and he got the assist against Chelsea, so I'm very happy with that. The problem is the rest of my midfield was awful. Bruno Fernandes played extremely well once again, but no attacking returns whatsoever. So he's been one of the most frustrating transfers I made all season. I brought him in ahead of that double in Gameweek 29. No returns so far. And the only time he's gotten any goals was in the FA Cup against Fulham, where he scored a brace. So I'm still waiting for that return from Bruno Fernandes, and a lot will have to do with Christian Eriksen coming back into the side, and also Casemiro. And that's why Bruno Fernandes probably played so well. Sabitzer got injured before the game against Nottingham Forest. Eriksen came in, and Bruno Fernandes thrived as a result. But I'm still waiting for him to convert all of these great performances into FPL points. Now, Bukayo Saka has been awful in recent games. He topped things off with that penalty miss against West Ham, but I'm backing him to turn things around, and on the free hit, I would not discard Saka. And maybe for those that are free hitting and didn't have Saka before, the fact that he's been blanking recently could work in your favour, because it puts people off from getting him in, and he could do extremely well against Southampton at home, who are bottom of the league, remember, facing the league leaders in Arsenal. So I'd still highly recommend Bukayo Saka, despite his poor run of games really in the last 2 or 3 matches ever since his benching against Leeds and the international break. But things will definitely turn around very soon, and Saka has the mentality to bounce back from all these setbacks and obstacles. The final midfielder, another disappointing one, was Mitoma, and his consistency since the World Cup has been unrivaled, you could argue. But in recent weeks, so many what could have beens, so many chances he had. Maybe against Spurs, he was really unlucky with the decisions that went against him, the disallowed goal, no penalty given. And once again, Brighton were a bit hard done by against Chelsea, but they still got the win, and Mitoma wasn't able to get in on the score sheet or get an assist but he's still a fantastic option from Gameweek 33 all the way until the end of the season. It's a rare sight to see Harry Kane blank, but that's what happened in Gameweek 31 against Bournemouth at home of all teams. Now, Bournemouth have been very impressive in recent weeks, and I have been saying this, but I definitely didn't expect that. A late winner by Bournemouth to win 3-2 and for Harry Kane to blank, that was definitely not in my thinking, but that's how the Premier League can be sometimes. And as I said in the best free hit team video, Harry Kane has never blanked 2 times in a row this season. Let's wait and see if that's what happens against Newcastle away. Now, the main 2 forwards for me were Erling Haaland, who I brought back in for Ivan Toney. He scored a brace and then came off at halftime. 12 points, very happy with that. And the other 4, the MVP for me, was Ollie Watkins. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough to prevent a red arrow for me, but Ollie Watkins made this game week a little bit bearable, because if I didn't have Ollie Watkins, for example, I would probably have had one of the worst weeks all season, but he kind of saved it a little bit. It wasn't enough to get a grey or green arrow, but nonetheless, Ollie Watkins did his part. It's just a shame that all of my defenders and pretty much all of my midfielders didn't do the job. And even Harry Kane, who has just reached 200 FPL points, he was another disappointment this week. And I'm looking for a big bounce back and also a result in blank Gameweek 32 with my free hit. In the end, I got 60 points overall, which was the safety score before that match that happened on the Monday, Liverpool versus Leeds, and that resulted in the red arrow. Not having Salah, no Liverpool assets whatsoever cost me, but on the free in Gameweek 32, I can afford to get 2 or even 3 of those players. Now, in the long term, I still wouldn't be too keen on a triple up in Liverpool, but for Gameweek 32, I definitely would highly recommend it. And if they once again show a big performance and signs of some consistency, then that's when I can start to maybe turn my perception a little bit and start to pile up on them in the future as well. So my overall rank went from around 86,000 to 96k. So a bit disappointing that I wasn't able to go up in rank. And at one point I was looking really promising, but a few things definitely went the other way, like Saka missing the penalty. You also had the likes of Harry Kane blanking, and also the fact that Luke Shaw and Nathan Ake both weren't available. Luke Shaw isn't too surprising because he's still injured and coming back. And as for Nathan Ake, though, I was very convinced he would start and it would be John Stones instead being benched. And that's what happens when you take on Pep Roulette. But let's now go into the best free hit team, or another version of it, in the team selection portion of this video. So let's dive straight into it. And after, to conclude this video, I'll talk about my transfer plans for Gameweek 33. This is definitely not set in stone, and after the game against Leeds, I am reconsidering this, but Alisson is the best goalkeeper in isolation in Gameweek 32. Liverpool are still suspect defensively, but I'm very confident they can get that clean sheet against Nottingham Forest at home. The problem is, having a double up in the Liverpool attack is what could be most profitable instead of going for Alisson in goal. Some alternatives I'm considering include Johnston from Crystal Palace, Emi Martinez from Aston Villa, and Aaron Ramsdale from Arsenal. I think they're the 4 best goalkeepers in Gameweek 32, but at the moment I've gone for Alisson in this team selection. If I decide to go for that double up in Liverpool attack, then it probably will be Johnston or Emi Martinez coming in for the goalkeeper position. This will be very different to any defense you've seen in any of my videos so far this season. Trent Alexander-Arnold is finally in one of these squads, and it's good to see him back to his best, you could argue, in this new inverted role for Liverpool. 2 assists against Leeds United, an assist against Arsenal, and things are looking on the up. If Liverpool can get those clean sheets as well, then you could easily see a double-digit return from Trent Alexander-Arnold once again. If I had to pick one Liverpool defender this week, it definitely would be Trent. And even in the long term, where Liverpool will have more doubles in the future as well, including, of course, in double Gameweek 34. Then we look at the other 2 defenders. It includes Gay from Crystal Palace. So if I don't go for Johnston in goal, it will be Gay in the starting 11 at home to Everton, who have been struggling recently. And whilst Everton will still be a tough cookie to crack in home matches, I still don't back them too much away from home, and I would give Crystal Palace the edge, especially with their form since Roy Hodgson has taken over. And the final defender is Alex Moreno, so consistent in recent weeks and also looking really promising under Unai Emery. Aston Villa are one of the best teams in the league at the moment. They're 6th in the table. They could be pushing for a Europa League spot, maybe even higher. And despite facing Brentford away, with the forms of both teams taken into account, I would definitely give Aston Villa the edge, and I would even be open to the idea of having one defender or Emi Martinez in goal. While most set on this week is having a midfield 5, and also Mohamed Salah has to be a part of it. Even if he had blanked against Leeds United, he would 100% be in this team, and he's a top contender for the captaincy as well. Nottingham Forest at home is probably the best fixture one could ask for, and Liverpool are looking slowly but surely getting back to their best. Then we've gone for Jeroboam away to Bournemouth. He might not be in this final team, but he is a good option nonetheless. He deserves an honourable mention at the very least. And despite Bournemouth looking really promising recently, I still back West Ham to score a goal or two. That could be a high-scoring game, could be a draw, could go to Bournemouth's way, or it could go West Ham's way. But ultimately, I think Jeroboam has a really good chance of a return, and he has produced a return in his last 3 games, including a very good goal against Arsenal. Then we look at the rest of the midfield. Eze is someone I never thought I'd consider on a free hit, but with the form he's in, you have to consider him. A mega haul in Gameweek 31, also returns in Gameweeks 29 and 30, and things are looking much better for Crystal Palace with Roy Hodgson returning to the side, and Eze looks like the main beneficiary of that managerial appointment, so it's great to see a new option kind of rise to the surface. Bukayo Saka was very disappointing in Gameweek 31 and also in the previous weeks, such as double Gameweek 29, but Bukayo Saka at home to Southampton, I'd back him to produce a strong response. He'll still be on penalties, and Arsenal will be eager to right not just one, but 2 wrongs that happened over the last week, and they have a very good opportunity to do so in Gameweek 32. The final midfielder is Gabriel Martinelli, probably the most informed midfielder in FPL over the last 9 game weeks, where he's got 7 goals and 3 assists. And honestly, he is my favourite Arsenal midfielder and asset at this moment in time. He's so cheap, and surely next season he's going to be priced much higher, because starting at 6 million, he's probably one of the biggest bargains we've had in the whole campaign. Having that triple or double up in Arsenal attack will definitely be profitable, and I'm very convinced that Saka and Martinelli would be the very best options to pick, even over the likes of Odegaard and Gabriel Jesus. One forward I'm definitely going for in Gameweek 32 is Ollie Watkins. Only 1 blank in his last 12 games, the most informed forward in the country, over the likes of Erling Haaland. I mean, you just can't go about Ollie Watkins at the moment, and I never thought I'd say this, because usually I say Ollie Watkins is a troll. He might have 3-4 games in a row where he does really well, but then after that he goes missing for a long while. I don't see that happening at the moment. Even facing his former club Brentford away in Gameweek 32, looks like a tough game, but I think Ollie Watkins could score and Aston Villa could get all 3 Premier League points. So Ollie Watkins is someone that I've completely changed my opinion about, because he's showing it on the pitch, and Unai Emery tends to get the best of these forwards like Aubameyang, Lacazette, Carlos Bacca, Edinson Cavani in the past. He's now doing it with Ollie Watkins. And the final forward is Gabriel Jesus. Now, he's not usually someone I kind of trust a lot in terms of his finishing or his FPL prospects, but he has looked really sharp in the last few games, getting those goals, some decent finishing. Of course, there's always going to be those big chances missed along the way, but Gabriel Jesus at home to Southampton, I would back him to do extremely well. He's only scored once against the Saints before, but it was that crucial goal that enabled Man City to reach 100 points in their Centurion season. Let's see if he can do something similar to help Arsenal win the Premier League title, despite the fact that things aren't looking as rosy as they once were in North London. This is the complete 11. There could be some changes. I think the main ones I'm looking at are Alisson, Alex Moreno and Bowen, but the rest looks very solid and probably settled in, locked in, whatever you want to say, for blank Gameweek 32. I'll have a lot of money left in the bank, and I've got a pretty solid bench as a result. Iverson will be the second goalkeeper. Trippier, Zuma and Greenwood also complete the bench, and I'm a bit uneasy about benching Trippier. He could come into the starting 11 as well, but regardless of all of this, I have so much money left in the bank, and that's why you could say a move to Harry Kane, for example, in the forward line is also maybe something I could look at, and maybe go for some more expensive players in other positions. But honestly, it's not just about filling your budget on a free hit or using any chip really. It's about the quality of player, the form, and many other factors as well that play a part in FPL. And also, there's going to be some luck involved in no matter who we pick, and there'll be some 50-50 calls that we can get right or wrong, but a lot of it does come down to luck eventually. In terms of the captaincy, that is something I'm not really doubting too much in my mind. Salah will be my captain, and I'm probably going to vice-captain Gabriel Martinelli, but I'm also even open to captaining Bukayo Saka, Gabriel Jesus, even Ollie Watkins. But really for me, the captaincy comes down to Salah, Martinelli and Bukayo Saka, and I'm currently going for the Egyptian King as the captain here in blank Gameweek 32. And the bench is looking pretty decent. I think I'll keep the likes of Greenwood, Zuma and Iverson for bench fodder. And then it really comes down to those 3 slots up for grabs in the starting 11 and potentially Kieran Trippier, who could be sold or he can find a way into my starting 11. It's all great talking about Gameweek 32, using the free hit, but you also have to think about how you're going to navigate the game weeks afterwards. And of course, we have some big double game weeks coming up in 34 and 37 and a few small double ones as well along the way. So in Game Week 33, a kind of normal game week here, I've gone for Kepa Arrizabalaga in goal. Raya will be on the bench, but I could certainly change that. And both teams have been off form, but Brentford have still been a bit more reliable in recent weeks. Trippier, Stupinian, Botman could be the back three, with Rashford, Saka, March, Mitoma as the midfield four, then Watkins, Haaland and Kane up front. But Bruno Fernandes could be playing in that number 10 role against Tottenham away, so benching him would be very, very stressful, but you could say the same thing about benching Bukayo Saka. Now, if Bruno Fernandes is definitely going to start as the number 10, then it probably will be Saka dropping down to the bench in Game Week 33, and I know benching one of the best midfielders and players of the Premier League season could definitely backfire, and he scored in the reverse fixture against Man City. But considering the form of both sides, with Man City being the overwhelming favourites, their record against Arsenal in recent years, and the other players that Saka's competing against with their fixtures, you would probably argue he is the best one to bench. And of course, it can always backfire, but that will be a decision to make in Game Week 33. And I could make one transfer, which includes Stupinian coming in, and the one to sell would be Ben Mee, and then the likes of Nathan Ake and Luke Shaw would be on the bench with tough games against Arsenal at home and Spurs away respectively. So that's looking pretty solid. Stupinian is mainly kind of for Game Week 34, but he's got a pretty decent fixture in Game Week 33 as well, and I would be pretty well set up for that double Game Week in 34, as well as the future, all the way until the end of the Premier League season. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below in terms of what you're doing in Game Week 32. Are you using free transfers, taking hits, using the free hit, and when are you going to be playing your wild card if you still have it? What are your plans for Game Week 33 all the way until 38? Let me know down in the comment section below, and thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video or found it useful, then be sure to smash the like button and subscribe if you're new. Let's try to get this video to over 300 likes. Let's keep on pushing towards 20,000 subscribers and beyond. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, DylanRCM, and check the links in the description below for the Patreon, channel memberships, Discord server, and the FPL League. All of that is there. I wish you all the best of luck for the rest of the Premier League season and Game Week 32, and I'll see you next time.